everyone, and welcome back to another week here at Just Gay Stuff Podcast. I am Jess.
And I'm Lauren.
And this week, we have another hot guest back in the hot seat. I'm so excited. I feel like it's not really a secret, but
No.
I've been a secret admirer of this beauty for a long time. It might be the first time they're hearing about it, but we finally have her here. She is a multi-award winner at the Queen's Ball Awards. She is your Cath Day night at Brunch with Bite and Brisbane's tallest fashion icon. Welcome to the podcast, Lulu Lemans.
Yay! Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just really excited to do gay things. It's the first time I've ever done this. I'm really excited.
You've come to the right place, Just Gay Stuff. There's nothing else going on here. It's all queer.
It's all gay.
It's all gay. So, Lulu, you're just joining us after a rehearsal. Can you quickly give us any behind the scenes, or is it all hush-hush?
Well, I am a very busy beaver this week. I've got two things that I'm rehearsing for. We're about to relaunch our Christmas show at Hey Felicia, starting off in the end of November, which there is nothing more exciting than getting up in fur and velvet in summer in Brisbane. My gosh, it's just so exciting. But that's always fun to hang out with the girls. It's such an amazing cast. So we just run over our Christmas shows. But the other thing I'm rehearsing for and I'm really excited for is this Saturday night at the time of recording is the pageant for 2025, and I won that last year, so I get to do a handover performance, and most people just get up and do like a ballad and it's dramatic and it's sad, and I was like, no, I'm bringing out my dancers and I'm gonna show them how it's done.
Wow. And you're singing a ballad? You're lip syncing a ballad? What's happening?
No, I'm doing a big dancey number. I've got my little backup dancers and we're going to be dancing around and causing a scene.
Causing a scene.
I'm excited.
Causing a ruckus up on stage. That's the kind of entertainment I like to see.
Speaking of causing a ruckus, I won an air fryer at
You did win an air fryer at
this
the last
fabulous
drag
brunch.
Yes. Good for you, Lauren. Good for you. Have you used it yet?
Nah.
It's still in the box.
Okay, so let's hear all about you, Lulu. What inspired you to start your drag journey and when?
Okay, wow. I made my debut in drag officially in 2018, but I had actually been behind closed doors for quite a long time practicing makeup. So previously was in a relationship with somebody, we were together for a very long time. We both had these full-time jobs and we both loved makeup. We both loved drag. We watched Drag Race. We were really inspired by fashion and got a lot of our love and power and things like that out of like strong women. So we always had a bit of an inkling. We're both very feminine. And one day he was getting ready for this party, and it was a gender bending party back in the day. This was like 2015, so I don't know if we do that anymore, but it was you had to do a gender swap. And I had experience with makeup, and I just jumped in and was like, I'm going to help you. We're going to get it done. And then he loved it so much and came home. And then over the next few months started practicing makeup, and I, being who I am, was kept giving him advice and kept giving him tips until one day he got jack of that and said, well, you don't do it, so you don't need to give me advice anymore. And I was like, no worries. So I took myself down to Big W. I bought myself a bunch of makeup and I was like, right, we're doing this together now. We're going to have just one night. I'm just going to show you that I can do it myself. And then one night has now led into nearly a decade of drag. I loved it so much. So basically...
Wow.
Yeah, basically we were doing these jobs and just, we found so much joy in that creative expression, and we went on this beautiful journey together and developed these drag personas, and then, made our debut at Brisbane Pride in 2018 and haven't looked back since then.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. I love how you were like, bitch, step off. I will show you that I can also do this shit.
The quickest way to motivate me to do something is to tell me that I'm not very good at it, then I'm going to figure out a way to do it.
So how did you get so good at makeup?
Well, I take a lot of inspiration from the gorgeous people that I get to work with. At first, I would say that my drag mum was Nikki Tutorials and Miss Fame on YouTube. I used to watch them religiously. And then getting the chance to work in drag by about 2020, I was in dressing rooms and getting ready with people. And then just developing techniques and seeing what other people do and what works for them and developing my own face. I think I kind of knew what I wanted to look like from the beginning, and if you look at my makeup evolution, it's just become a more refined version of that the whole time. I just love to constantly tweak it and constantly change it and learn new techniques, learn different products that work for me. And one of the things I love doing is challenging myself too. Like I've run 10Ks in drag a couple of times, and finding a way to make the makeup stick on was like a personal. Everyone was like, "Your face is going to melt off by the end." Again, tell me I can't do it. So that I made sure I finished the race, ran 10Ks, and then did a no filter video. And I was like, "Tell me again, what about it?"
So what was the secret?
Well, witchcraft. No, I.
A good spell.
Yeah.
The dark arts. No, I basically, you got to make sure your skin is hydrated the night before so that it's not like really aggressive the next day. And I've got everything here. I'm actually at my makeup desk. So this is the holy grail. You're actually getting the top secret information.
I love this.
Show and tell.
So here we go. There's a few things.
Lulu's going to leave out the witchcraft side that's like, and the blood of 5 of your exes.
Yeah. You remember that ex I told you about? No. So start off with the Urban Decay All-Nighter Primer.
Ooh.
Not just the spray, the primer is God's work. Then I use the House Labs foundation because I found out that's what Lady Gaga wears when she's on tour, and she's doing it for like 3 hours, where I was only running for an hour. And then you got to get that good old stage powder. You got to invest in your makeup. That's the ticket. You can't be, we're not putting MCO Beauty on to run 10Ks. Sorry to the MCO Beauty girlies. So I got the Krylon powder, and then I finished off with the Urban Decay All-Nighter Spray. And that there is equivalent to like Dulux Wash and Wear renovated spray.
Love it.
You're a full renovated face. I love it.
Exactly.
You're a marble bench top.
Exactly. I'll stop making noise in the background now, sorry.
So good. So on average, how much do you think you would spend on makeup?
It depends. There's certain things that you go through a lot of, like powders, foundations, all like that, like the big surface area that you spend a lot of money on. Like the foundation, I think, is like $80, and you go through that every few months. It is expensive, but it's going on my face, so I don't really want cheap and nasty. But I like to buy things that are going to last. I like to buy things that are good quality where I don't need to spend, 5 minutes trying to get the product out to make it work. I like to get the good stuff. So yeah, normally I would say I'm probably spending maybe like $100 a month maximum on like makeup and bits and pieces. That's like all the hairspray and the glues and the everything. It probably averages out to that. Like sometimes naturally, Murphy's Law, everything runs out at the same time. Yeah. And you have to buy like a makeup palette, a contour palette and everything. But yeah, probably $100 a month. I think the trick is once you've been doing it for a while, you just buy lots of the same things, and you don't have to buy lots of new stuff all the time. Like I've been buying the same eyeliner for the last like 4 years, and it's the same one that heaps of other queens use, and it goes on special at Woolies, and you just know. I pick up like 10 at a time.
For Christmas and birthdays, are you like, everyone just buy me a Mecca card? Everyone knows, buy me a Mecca card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Invest in me and my art. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we know you as Lulu Lemans, and you've showed us a little peek behind the curtain so far, but tell us the behind the name.
The inspiration behind your name.
I am obviously named after the activewear brand, Lulu Lemans, but with a man in it because, well, hello. Yeah, so basically around that time, I was starting to experiment with makeup, and everything was like 2017, 2018. I was living in Newstead. I was working in corporate. A lot of my friends were like influencer girlies, like Fitspo, that very like vapid, love them, that type of girl, right?
Yeah.
That's who I was spending my time with. And I was like, how can I like honor that? Because these are my people that have inspired me to do drag and supported me and been there from day one. How can I like honor that and also then give myself license to also be like a vapid fitness girly? What's the most obnoxious thing? And then obviously that's how it came about. So yeah.
Wow.
I love that. Other than your name, your drag name now, did you have any other drag names that you maybe thought of that didn't make the cut?
God, yes.
Too many.
What's your best innuendo one? Did you come up with any good ones?
So, okay, every baby drag queen goes through a phase of thinking they've got the funniest drag name in the world. So I originally, one of the names I was tossing around, which is terrible, and I'm so glad I didn't pick it, was Lana Del Gay. And I was like, this is so creative. This is so incredible. No one will ever think about this. Like, this is the one. I'm so glad I didn't go with that. And since then, there's like been so many times I'm like, I wish I'd called myself that. Like, Grace Anatomy would be a funny one.
I love that.
But then I don't think I'm a Grace. I don't think it would work for me.
Not for the vapid girly.
No,
Maybe
exactly.
for the nice Christian angel, which,
Well, exactly. I like silly names as well now. Like, I would like to have a bit of fun with it. So, like, ... I think would be really funny. So, like, your name is... So, it's like you'd be dot, but it's just got like dot, dot,
Dot,
dot.
dot, dot.
Stupid. But yeah, no, there's a million. Every time I put stupid words together, I'm like, that'd be a great drag name.
A bunch of the girls ended up giving me, we went on a camping trip.
Oh yeah, we went on a camping trip.
I can't remember what yours is.
Oh, mine was because I have Indian in me, so they called me curried coochie. So that was mine.
Pretty.
Yeah, it was super pretty. I think
Mine
we're going to
was-
name our kid that.
Yeah,
Curry.
are we?
Yeah. And Lauren's was...
Regina Gorge.
No, Vagina Gorge.
Vagina Gorge.
Oh, that's nice.
It
Yeah,
is
it's
nice.
pretty.
Vagina.
Yeah, Vagina and Coochie, that goes
Yeah.
well together.
I
It's
love it.
beautiful.
I mean, they're one in the same.
But still so different. Each is unique. That's beautiful.
It works for a beautiful lesbian couple.
It does.
Now, you are known as Brisbane's tallest fashion icon, which I have to say, I am the exact opposite of you. I am Brisbane's shortest fashion victim. So going into that, do you think that being the tallest fashion icon gives you an advantage in drag? Like, people can't see past you, you're the forefront.
Well, I do feel like a bit of a fraud because I'm pretty sure if you put me in a room next to Tall Jan or Scarlet Fever, they would tower over me. But I think the distinction is the fashion icon element. I'll claim that.
Yeah.
I think the advantage is that it doesn't matter what room I walk into, I'm going to stand out. Except it has come with the territory because I'm 6'3" or 6'4" out of drag. And when I walk into a room, usually like a drag brunch or something, it's the first time people have seen a drag queen. They're like, oh my God, you're so tall. And I'm like, what? What am I? When did that happen? This is the first I'm hearing of this. Or I'll be like, oh no, yeah, obviously, like my mother's a forklift. Like I'm just... it's just
I love
yeah.
that.
So-
We actually saw you perform at Wynnum Fringe with Freya and you had a broken toe, so you weren't in heels.
Yeah.
And
I
you-
also want a backstory to the
We saw
broken toe.
we saw the devastation when you were like, everyone can see I'm not in heels, it's not my fault.
Mhm.
So how did you break the toe?
Yeah.
Lauren needs to know.
I do.
Okay, well, I mean, that was a private moment I shared with the 100 people in that room, not wearing heels that day. So I'm the kind of girl who will drive to the gig in my manual car in a pair of thigh-high boots. Like I'm not, the heels don't come off. So it was really difficult for me, but I wish it was a fun story. I was working from home one day on the computer and I was in a meeting that went on for like an extra half an hour too long. So I was busting to wee. So I got up, closed the laptop and I like cut a corner to get to the bathroom in my house and just caught a bookshelf and it like literally pulled my toe out. And so then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to piss myself. Oh my God, I just broke my toe at the same time. There was a lot going on. I could tell straight away. I did make it to the bathroom, just to clarify.
Just, yeah,
Thank
just
goodness
so
for
all
that.
the listeners know.
But I didn't really do anything about it. And then a week and a half later, I was doing my show, Divas Live, at the Wickham. And it was the last show of our run. It had been going for like 3 months. And it was the very last show, last song. And I did a high kick and landed on that foot. And where it had been broken a little bit, it then completely separated. So when you saw me, my toe had like a 2 mil gap in it.
Oh my God.
So like the end of my pinky toe was just like flopping down. It was not cute.
I wasn't prepared either.
It was really bad. It was really bad. That's how you know it was serious because I had to then commit to the flats. I performed a couple of times in a moon boot, which was just
Oh my God.
like I'm uncoordinated at the best of times, let alone with that thing hanging off my foot.
It
But
does not come across
Yeah, no, I was
like that
gonna
at
say.
all. I've seen you do amazing things. Like, let's just be real.
thank you. But no, it was rough, but I did what I was supposed to do. I followed doctor's orders. I made a fabulous recovery and never again will I cut that corner past my mother.
The minute you said bookshelf, I like physically
You felt
felt
it.
I had a visceral reaction to bookshelf.
The lesson in life, don't cut corners.
That's why I
Don't
don't
cut
read
corners.
books. See? Then you don't need a bookshelf and you won't break your toe. And that's it.
Exactly.
Well, we've seen you numerous times at numerous events like Drag Brunch.
Drag brunch. You introduced my band at Loud Proud Logan. That was
Yes.
fun.
Ooh.
And then
Wynnum Fringe.
Wynnum Fringe, yeah, all the stuff. You're so busy. I
But
love
how
it.
did you go from just like trying drag at home and doing all the makeup and thinking it was something you could do to making drag a successful business of your own?
It honestly happened by accident. I'm a very ambitious person. So like I knew that I didn't want to just like turn up and be like a queen who went out and just like was like a bar queen, which nothing against that. But I was like, I want to prove to myself that I could do this because I never really saw myself as creative. Like my backstory is that I I got a business degree. I went and worked in corporate for 5 years. Like I didn't start drag until I was 23. I didn't start performing until I was 25. And in terms of drag queens, that's quite late in the piece. So I had kind of oh, this is my life now. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder and this is it, whatever. And then I realized I was feeling a bit unfulfilled. So I was like, I want to be creative. I want to express myself. And then because I am the way that I am, I wasn't content with just turning up and turning out and doing a look. It had to then be like, okay, well, I'll do some baby queen competitions and I'll do some shows. And then the first number I ever did, I had Henny Spaghetti and Tina Bicky were in the audience. And it was for a little competition called Work at Wednesday. And this was before COVID. So I performed Call Me Mother by RuPaul, which for my first number was that was ambitious.
But that's you all over. That's you all
Exactly.
over.
Exactly. I was like 8 years ahead of myself, but they both came up to me afterwards. I looked up to both of them because they were already quite established in the scene. They came up to me afterwards and both were like, "Oh, you've got something really special. You know, that was amazing. That was so much fun. Like you're such a diva, whatever." And were really supportive. And then all of a sudden I kind of got the bug. So then I kept going to events and kept doing things and kept performing in competitions. And then the right people saw what I was doing. I didn't really have any gigs before COVID. And then a few people kind of disappeared from the scene over COVID and found different things to do. And the team who was running Drag Brunch at the time, which was Harry Kay, Maddie, and BB, the three of them had kind of seen what I could do. And they invited me along to be a guest for the first brunch back after COVID, which was a sellout. There was like 180 people there. And it was my first time properly hosting. So I just kind of got thrown in the deep end. Obviously didn't do a bad job. And then 3 days later, Harry messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to be the permanent co-host? We've sold out the next like 7 weeks. We need somebody." And then I was like, "Oh, what am I going to do? I work full time." Like this was never really the ambition. I just kind of wanted to tick the box that I could be booked. And now all of a sudden I have this weekly gig opportunity. What am I going to do? And then I just thought to myself, you know what? One day people aren't going to want me to show up on their stage. So I'm just going to say yes to the opportunity while it's here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was now 5 or 6 years ago. And each time I get asked to do something, I'm like, oh, I'll say yes because one day someone's not going to say yes anymore. That time hasn't come yet, so I've just been doing more and more stuff. But I'm just grateful. And I think I get so much joy out of making people laugh and making people smile and challenging myself to do new things. And I get very tired. I work full time again now and I get very exhausted. And then, you know, you go through a run of being like, oh, this is a lot. This is really exhausting. And then you have one gig where you make someone's day or you've had a real impact on somebody or I've really impressed myself as well. And then I'll go home and be like, oh, it would be such a waste if I didn't do this. Like I'd be wasting this outlet. Like and it reminds me of why I started it in the first place, which was to add some color to my life and to challenge myself. So there's no turning back. One day someone's not going to ask me to be there.
Have you actually had to turn anything down?
Yes, yeah. There have been opportunities in the last since I've got this fabulous job. I've got a wonderful boss that I work for, and I take it seriously. I've just bought a house, so I've got to take my day job seriously as well.
We know how detrimental that is at the moment in the current buyer's market is terrible. So congratulations.
Yeah.
It is, and it's something that I'm obviously very conscious of that it's not a super accessible thing for people. So I take it very seriously that I've been given this opportunity and. So I've got this job and, you know, so now I kind of have to prioritize my time a little bit better and I have to do the things that are going to make me happy, do the really big shows that are going to make me feel really fulfilled and really challenged. And, you know, I don't need to say yes to everything. I don't need to prove that I'm the busiest person. And I also kind of think that I got my opportunities when people decided to step back a bit. So I'm happy to kind of step aside and give more people opportunities to do things as well. But yeah, so I do sometimes have to turn things down, but it comes from a place of love because I want to be able to show up fully and I want to be enjoying the fact that I'm there. And if I say yes to too much, I start to maybe resent it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think if people are paying a ticket price to be somewhere to watch me, you want the person to want to be there on the stage. And I perform better when I'm feeling like really energized. And if I'm saying yes to everything, I can't deliver that.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a element of self-care that is always the most important as well. So you have to be your best self to be the best person for everyone else too.
That's true.
Exactly. And it is like, because I host most of the shows that I do, it's very rare that I'm at a show where I'm not hosting. And that really, like, it sounds, whatever, but it takes a lot out of you being switched on and having to be really extroverted and really conversational for, sometimes up to like 3 or 4 hours for like those big brunches and things like that. It's exhausting, especially if you've worked 5 or 6 days beforehand. So
Yeah.
you want to be able to give that amount of energy that people deserve when they pay a ticket to come and see you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Lauren and I have followed you for quite a long time, probably one of the first brunches that you ever did. And I've seen other interviews that you've done. I actually recently just watched Queensland.
Yep.
You did a little interview for them and you were talking about how Lulu has changed your life in a way of she is the opposite to you and gives you this confidence. So can you talk to us a little bit about how Lulu as your drag persona differs from you, the person behind her?
Yeah, well, in some ways, it's the same person. In some ways, it's exactly the same. And all it is kind of a license for me to realize what I'm capable of. But in other ways as well, I think it's the same for a lot of drag performers. The character is kind of your own creation. So any hang-ups, any insecurities, any kind of challenges that you've had in the past, this character that I've created doesn't have that life. They haven't had any of those challenges, and I can kind of show up and embody a character that I want to be. That being said, though, I don't want to be a character to the point where it's inauthentic. I think something for me is I always still like to try and be authentically myself and connect with people authentically. But for me, it really gives me a license to shed mainly the insecurity and to like put that armor on and just be confident. Because like a lot of the things that get celebrated in drag are some of the things that caused me grief when I was younger, for example. Like I'm very quick-witted, which means that sometimes I can say the wrong thing or piss somebody off or make a joke at an inappropriate time, but chuck a wig on and all of a sudden, oh wow, $100 a ticket, that's perfect. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
That flamboyance as well, that chance to kind of come out and be like I grew up and I wanted to be a pop star. Like when I'd be having a rough time at school or something, I'd come home and sit in my room and I'd watch the Lady Gaga Monster Ball documentary because that's what I wanted to be. Or I'd watch like Joan Rivers and Kathy Griffin doing comedy roasts. And for me, it was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be this like larger than life, outrageous personality. So yeah, it kind of gave me the license to combine those things that I was hiding away in my room when I was growing up, and to be able to put it on a stage and have people want to come and see it is just, it's given me license to celebrate myself in a way that I wouldn't have had the chance to had I just stuck on that corporate ladder.
Yeah, wow.
I love that. I think speaking of the fact that, Lulu allows you to be so confident and intertwine parts of yourself as well and be able to do all these amazing events. What's maybe the most memorable event that you've been a part of for either the right reason or the wrong reason?
Or both.
Or
Give us both.
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow, there's been a few really exciting things that I've been a part of. Obviously, some of the really large scale events are always super memorable. Like I just recently got to host Halloween Hall, which is like the biggest Halloween party in Brisbane. I got to host that. I remember going to that when I was at university and thinking it was so cool. So some of that stuff sticks out. Getting to do my own production show as well. So in 2023, I had that relationship with a person I started drag with. We'd been together for 8.5 years and we'd actually just broken up. And I was in a really dark place personally. I just like my whole life had kind of changed in the blink of an eye. And I was preparing for this production show that I'd finally got the chance to develop, and I got to do it with Cora and Freya and Kimmy and Ella, my two dancers. They're fabulous, amazing people. And I was pulling the show together, and it was like this ultimate vision where it was called Divas Live, and I wanted to honor the divas that inspired me. And it was this show that I always wanted to create. And then because the rug kind of felt like it got pulled out from underneath me, I wanted to can it. I was like, I just am not in the right headspace to do this. And then I turned up to the first rehearsal, and it was literally 4 days after my 8.5 year relationship ended. Turned up to the first rehearsal, and I was a shell of a person. And I told the guys what had happened, and they were like, oh my gosh, this is so rough. They were all very supportive. And then we turned the music on, and we started to dance together and build this show together. And there was a part of me in that moment that was just like, okay, it doesn't feel okay right now, but it's going to be okay. Like, this is going to bring you so much joy. Don't give up on what you want to do. You're just going to the show must go on, right? The show must go on. And I remember turning up to that first night, still just like reeling. It had been like 6 weeks by that point. And I got to that first show and put it on, and I was like, holy shit, I'm doing this. What am I doing? And then by the time the show finished, I was just like so overcome with joy and love for myself that I got through it. Because it was genuinely like the last thing you want to do when you're going through something like that is be in front of everybody, especially with a show that I had created. And it was this massive show. We danced so much. There was a lot of rehearsal, a lot of work went into it, thousands of dollars of costumes. So all this pressure, like this must be a success. And then to turn up and just love it and have a great time. And the show got extended and it became this massive juggernaut. And we had just the best time. I think for me, that stands out as kind of like the show that kept me going. Because we'd started drag together and everything. I didn't even know if I'd want to do drag on my own. So it was just like this thing that kind of saved me in a way to be able to put that show on. And so that was really, really special. And I'll always be grateful to the team that I got to do it with and everybody who helped me put the show together, because that really kept the fire lit in me to just keep going when all I wanted to do was crawl up in bed and be like, I want this to be over. So that's something I look back on, and that's just like the power of drag and the power of performing and
power of community.
And community, exactly. So that really stands out as probably the proudest thing I've done in drag, because it was the last thing I wanted to do, and I'm so glad I did it. And then the other one that kind of sticks out as well is I got to help establish Queer in Here, which is that event that gets put on for school age kids to come along and experience like a really safe environment to kind of understand their own queer identities and get to talk to real people. And I got to do the first one of those. And I just remember it being such a revelation, because I was like, I never would have expected that I'd be able to contribute to people who were going through what I went through when I was locked up in my room, trying to repress all of that. So to be able to be there and just be like this shining, happy light for people made me really happy.
Yeah, making an impact, especially people coming through like their teen years now and self-discovery and going on their own journey. I think it's so important that young people these days have the opportunities that we didn't, because I think our lives would be so much different had we had the same opportunities that they have now. So I think that's really special, really important. And talking about the show coming together after your breakup, like I'm so glad you persevered.
Me too.
Because it's so worth it at the end. I'm glad it was worth it for you.
Absolutely. And it was, when you're in a relationship, you put a lot of effort. It's 50-50, and there's absolutely no hard feelings with Elle, who I was in the relationship with, Elderflower. Beautiful person, wonderful person, has moved to Edinburgh and is doing amazing things over there as well. So there's no hard feelings there, but you do put a lot of emphasis on another person when you're in a relationship. And it was just so scary to look down the barrel of putting this show on, because it was all for, like, it was me, it was my show. And I was just like, I'm just reeling at the moment. So yeah, to be able to sit there and actually invest in myself was like exactly the medicine I needed in that time.
Was it also a case of the fact that you started drag with this person and, when you spend 8 years with someone, I was also in a 8-year relationship that ended in 2023. I was like, wow, Lulu was talking about me.
It was breakup season. It was breakup season.
It was awful. We came out of COVID and we persevered, and then everyone was like, nah, hate you. And I was like, okay.
Exactly.
But, you go through these formative years and you grow with this person through the years where you're still discovering yourself, and then you wonder, am I the same person without them?
Absolutely.
For you to persevere through drag even, which was this amazing extension of yourself, that's just like another level of, finding yourself after somebody or finding yourself apart from someone, which can be really difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a lovely reminder that like of my own value as well. Yeah. I even said when I won Drag Performer of the Year in 2022, she was also nominated. And in my thank you speech, I said, I was like, I really appreciate what we have, and I don't think I would want to do this without you. And that was ringing through my ears as I was trying to get ready for this massive show that I invested all this time and money into. I was like, do I want to do this? Like, do I actually want to do this? Can I do this? For so long I believed I had to be part of something else to be whole. And then it was just almost serendipitous the way that it lined up, and was a chance for me to look in the mirror at the end of it and say, you can do this. Like, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And that was like exactly what I needed.
And successful in your own merit as well.
Exactly.
Because you won. So, fuck that bitch. No.
No, I did win, and I will always, my trophy's over here, and she doesn't have that, and that's all I needed.
That's all good. Just going back to events, we spoke about your proud moments in drag, but has there been an event where something maybe negative or the wrong reason has happened?
Oh, yeah. Yes. There's been there's been a whole spectrum of different events. Sometimes you go to an event and maybe it hasn't sold as well as you wanted it to, and you're like, oh, cool, no one likes me. I've been to events where people have had way too much to drink and jumped up on the stage and then caused issues. I had a situation once after one of the Kath and Kim events. We were doing 2 shows in a day, and trigger warning, more broken bones. So we're doing we were doing 2 shows in a day, and after the matinee show, we were doing like photos at the end, and I went up to this guy and he gave me like a big hug in the photos, and he squeezed me so hard that he literally broke my rib.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
For context, I had also clumsily slightly injured it maybe 3 months beforehand, and it had healed. So it was kind of similar what I did to my toe, like re-broke it.
It was still brittle. It was still
Fragile.
brittle.
It was, but I'm dressed as Cath Day Night. So when I walked out the back, and I was just like, I was winded, and all the girls were in the dressing room. So I've like walked out the back, and I was like, with the stupid wig on, and I was like, I think he just broke my rib, and they thought I was doing a bit, and I was like, no, I think my rib is actually broken.
You were doing the Cath dance, like, oh.
Yeah, I'm literally like, guys, please. So then there was like an hour and a half between the shows, and there was 200 people coming, and we tried to call to get somebody to replace, and obviously 2 hours notice, no one was available. And the team very graciously were like, we can cancel the show. And the producer, Harry, was like, if you're not right to do it, we can cancel the show. And I was like, I have an idea. I was like, can you please get me 4 or 5 shots of 5? And every painkiller you've got in the vicinity, I need them all right now. I was like, let's do that and check in about half an hour and see what happens. So I did, with a broken rib and I would say very heavily intoxicated, did the 2-hour show in the evening. So that one sticks out in my mind. The drunk Cath Day Night with the broken rib. Sounds
wish
like
I was
something
there.
from Pluto. One of my friends did come along. It was the first one she'd been to. And
no.
so she's like posting to her story. She's like, oh my God, this show's amazing. And I'm just like, woo! Yeah. The show was good though. You wouldn't have even been able to tell. I just like had a day at the races dressed as Cath Day Night.
Well, it fits. It fits. It is what it is.
Kissed mothers is a bad look. That's what she says.
Well, we've talked previously about the camaraderie, I suppose, between audiences and performers. Do you feel as a drag entertainer that you are more susceptible to people crossing the lines of respect? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, definitely. I think because it happens when you're in a costume, people often view you like almost like a mascot or like an object. So people tend to be quite grabby. Often we're in environments where people have been drinking, so they've got that extra bit of confidence and courage there. And a lot of the time people will just, come in for the kill quite aggressively. But typically when I first started, I was a bit more shy about it, and I'd be like, oh, stop. Now I'll be like, whoa, take a step back. Like I'll literally be like, physically, you don't want to push somebody away, but I'll physically try and like keep the person away. But there was a time where we were sitting up taking photos at the end of an event. Again, these photos need a red velvet rope.
Need security.
Exactly. But we're taking photos, and this woman came up, and normally they'll grab you on the bum and whatever, but this woman like reached up inside my dress and tried to like grab a hold of my crutch.
Jeez.
And I literally, it was so invasive, and I was literally like, you can leave now. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I was like, you're out. Like, and I told to her friends, I was like, you need to get her out of here before I get somebody to get her out of here. Get out of the venue. You are not welcome here. And they were like, why are you being like that? And I was like, could you imagine if I came to your workplace and reached up your skirt and grabbed a hold of your genitals? I don't think you would appreciate it very much. So then the friend was like, okay, fair enough. And then they left.
No shit.
They left. So I think I used some more choice language than that. But yeah, you just kind of got it. But in terms of the invasion of space, I think it's not just a drag thing. I think it is the way people think they can treat women like objects. It's even worse as well for the trans girls in the community as well, who are probably even more of a target. So, I've got 10 layers of padding and tights and things on, so I'm pretty well protected. But it just goes to speak how people think they can treat feminine presenting people as objects. You don't typically see people going up and grabbing men and stuff like that, short of being like a Magic Mike experience. You don't really see that kind of like animalistic behavior, but for some reason people think they can touch people who present as women like that.
Yeah.
Which is horrible. Talking about the person behind Lulu, are you able to share a bit about your...
Sorry, I put this on behind me. I just turned around.
There is. Are you able to share a bit about your queer journey with us and give us an insight into your coming out story?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes, I can. So I grew up with very supportive parents. My mum was always encouraging me to live outside the box, and my dad just loves me unconditionally, as they both do. But even still, like, I went to a high school in Logan.
We can beep that out if you want.
Yeah, we're just gonna Well, I went to a very expensive private school. No, I went to a public school in Logan. It was quite a rough area. Like the kids there were very cruel, and I used to get picked on all the time, which kind of caused me to believe that it was a bad thing. And simultaneously, I did quite well at school. I had ambitions of, working in business and making a career for myself after school. And I had this thing because I was getting picked on. I was like, I must be bad. So there's going to be no place for me to be queer or be gay and also simultaneously be successful, which sounds crazy now. I mean, it's 2025. I graduated high school in 2012. So it was a different time. We were kind of like on the cusp of woke, but we weren't quite there yet. So there was still a lot of room to grow as a society. So I felt quite ashamed of it. And then I didn't tell my parents for a long time. I wouldn't even admit it to myself. While I was at high school, I was just kind of like, oh, you grow out of this. It's a phase. And I kind of repressed that. Even though I was sitting in my room watching Lady Gaga and Joan Rivers, for some reason that didn't click that I was gay. And then I spent the first year of my uni quite isolated. I didn't branch out and make many friends in my first year. But then come the second year, something just snapped. And one day I was like at my best friend's house. And again, straight, I was at my best friend's house and the two of us were doing hair masks and drinking orange juice and watching like The Real Housewives. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm straight. And my best friend was like, yeah, duh. Then all of a sudden I was like about to turn 19 and I got a lot more comfortable with myself and started to, like message boys on the apps that you use when you're 19 years old and, exploring the world. And then, would start going out to Fluffy or the Beat, or lived on the Gold Coast, so I'd go to the clubs down there as well. All of a sudden started to realize how much joy I had been missing out on just finding a place. Like I would go to Fluffy almost every Sunday and I would just have so much fun. And it was like, oh, there is actually a whole world out here for me. And then still at this point hadn't told my mum, but she was like, hey, you've got all these photos at this place called Fluffy. What's that? I was like, oh, it's just like, it's a Sunday night. So it's just like a uni night. It's just, she knew. She knew.
She told you to live outside the box. You were like, I'm not touching one. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. No boxes here. Thank you, Mum. When I was a kid, she got me Britney Spears CDs and I would sit at home and watch Channel V on television. I watch all the music videos and pretend to be them when I was 5 years old. So she always knew.
Yeah.
Eventually the coming out was all very dramatic because I was like, I don't know why you keep asking me all these questions. She's like, I don't know why you won't tell me. And I was like, because it's not about you. And then I stormed off. And then since then we've laughed about it and reconciled, and she felt terrible for pressuring me, but secretly I've always felt bad for not just embracing that part of myself and enjoying that with her as well, because it would have been easier on both of us had I just accepted it. But it was a scary journey. It was different back then, and the same as it has been with drag. I just find pockets of joy, and I think our job to help our little human existence, which is very short, is to find those pockets of joy and just drain them out until you find the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think talking about that relationship with your mum and, I should have come out sooner and all that, I think, I graduated in 2008, so I'm a little bit older, but it was that same generation of everything you saw that was queer, even in representation that you saw on TV, it was always a big deal. And it was someone was always against it, and it was that rising up. And so I feel like even though I came out to my mum, who was super supportive of me, you always had that idea in the back of your head that no matter how much you knew your parents, you thought, oh, it's going to be dramatic because that's all I've seen it to be.
Oh my God, yes. And even, do you remember there was that whole craze of all the YouTube coming out videos at that period of time, which it would be they'd be sitting there bawling their eyes out, being like, I'm gay. And then it was this really dramatic thing. And then they'd be like, it's National Coming Out Day. And then you'd be like, oh my God, all this pressure. It was such a big deal. And it still is. I'm sure it still is. I know that there are still people out there, lots of people out there that would be having these similar fears, especially with the way that the tide has turned a little bit again.
Yeah.
Society's become a little bit more conservative again.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. I think we're all of a similar generation. It's kind of our first time experiencing the cycle going the other way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's our job, in the same way that, because we're now an older generation of queer people, it's kind of our job to be those shining symbols of what life can be, and the joy that we can have, and the healthy relationships that we can have, and the community that we can find. And it's not even about trying to recruit people. It's about the ones who are already gay, letting them know that it's going to be okay. and not be a big dramatic thing. It's just like, this is just life and you will find your people.
Yeah.
And you can't recruit people that already aren't halfway there, let's be honest. We have this argument all the time.
We do.
Exactly. Just like you can't recruit people back the other way. Like you can't change people.
Exactly. So you spoke about just now in your coming out story having all these iconic people that, you know, Britney Spears and all that. But do you have icons that inspired you to be Lulu, and you kind of saw a representation for you to come out?
Oh, shocker, Lady Gaga.
Really?
Being a young closeted gay boy during the time that Born This Way came out was very empowering. Yeah, she was number one, inspiring me to kind of like embrace exactly who I am and not have to be somebody different. Like, don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't achieve these things. I've always gravitated towards strong, powerful, confident women. Most of my friends are girls. When I was at high school, I had strong female friends, and the teachers that I gravitated towards were girls, and they just never really questioned who I was. Like they never made me feel bad about myself, and I think that kind of in itself just inspired me to just be okay with who I was. But in terms of inspiring Lulu, there's also, I have this kind of like, what are the touchstones of what makes me who I am and what builds the character? Number one is like, I always want to look like I'm either a pop star on tour. Like there's always going to be some element of stage costume. Like good luck trying to pry me out of my thigh-high boots. Or there's also then like, I want to kind of, if I want to do something a bit fashiony, I want it to be like editorial. There's usually like a fashion reference or something like that. And then the third touchstone is the most random one of all, but Helen from Bridesmaids.
Yeah. Rose Byrne's character.
Rose Byrne's character, the snooty best friend who
Helen.
everybody loves to hate because she thinks she's better than everybody else. She knows she's better than everybody else, and everybody knows she thinks she's better than everybody else. And that is, I think that's part of the persona, because there's the scene where they walk in to the engagement party for the first time, and everyone else is just kind of normal, and Kristen Wiig turns around and looks down the corridor, and Helen's facing the other way. She's got this massive hair, a full fishtail gown, and she turns around in slow motion, and she's like, "Oh, hi." That moment is what I want to create every time I get into drag and walk into a room.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, you mentioned quite a few icons there, and I'm very sorry to ask this question because you probably get asked this question a lot. So sorry in advance. Did you ever try out for Drag Race Down Under, or are you going to?
I've never heard of that show, actually. That's so crazy.
Do you know
Is that about cars?
before this we didn't know about it either.
Nah.
No, crazy.
Yeah, it's out at Willowbank at Ipswich.
I love the drags. Growing up, my dad was an engine builder, so I love the drags. So I have tried out for drag racing before. One of my dream cars is the Ford Mustang.
I love that.
No, yeah, this is why I have a lot of lesbian fans, because I can talk about cars. It really.
Yeah, I mean, we're
nothing
lesbians.
about
We know
cars.
nothing about cars.
I'll do it for you. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
I mean, I know how to change a tire, but that's about it.
Good. Well, if you ever have a problem, just send me a voice note and I'll diagnose it for you.
Okay, awesome.
Amazing. Thank you.
But yes, Drag Race, of course, I have auditioned a couple of times. I didn't audition for season 4 because the audition process came out in late 2023. So I was like, I don't really want to be on TV in this state. But I did audition for season 2 and 3. I would love to go on and challenge myself. I'm not particularly fussed about going on there and being memed. I want to go on there and actually like put myself through the ringer, the same as everything else I've done in my life. I just want to prove to myself that I can do it. I have this like ruthless ambition that is a double-edged sword, but yeah, I would love to just go on there and challenge myself against the best and be able to showcase what I do and what I love and be able to talk about things on the television that it's great to give airtime to certain things. I'm passionate about many, many causes. So I'd love to go in there and just be able to kind of showcase a bit of me and to challenge myself.
I think you would be amazing on it.
Yeah. I think that we in Brisbane have so much homegrown talent that it's a shame it doesn't make it to the TV. But, you know, everyone has their time, and hopefully yours is coming if you continue to audition, because we would love to see you on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. I've had the pleasure as well. So I worked very closely with Beverly for season 2. We were in a girl group together called Little Dicks. Forever and always. Little Dicks, great little girl group. So we were in the process of doing that and doing shows together, and then she got the call up. And then fast forward to 2023, I was in a girl group with Freya Armani doing Divas Live, and she got the call up for Drag Race. I was like, oh, great! I'm
So
happy
you're
for
the
you
third
all.
one.
You're like, it's my time. When is it? When is it?
Maybe this time. No, so I'm very happy, and I got to talk through some of the things that Bev was doing, got to help her with a few outfits, and I lent Mandy my Cath Day Night costume that she wore in Snatch Game, which she now is the rightful owner of. So it would be against my better judgment if I went on and tried to do Cath Day Night at any show now. Mandy owns that. That's hers. And then I got to, work with Freya really closely before she went on as well. And yeah, I love supporting them. I'm lucky in the sense that I don't particularly get jealous. I'm competitive, but I don't get jealous. So I was just really, really happy to see the three of them go on there and sat and watched every single episode and cheered them on as if I didn't know what was going to happen.
Do you have a challenge that you think you would be superb at? And do you have
Roast,
a challenge?
roast,
Yeah,
give me a roast.
You already knew the answer.
Yeah, I did actually. And do you think there was a challenge you would struggle with, but you would want to overcome?
Yeah, so definitely give me a roast or a hosting challenge. I think I would be very comfortable in that. For my Miss Sporties prize, I got to put on a show of any description. I chose to put on a roast. Like it comes naturally to me. I love it. I think I would probably, I don't want to give away my weaknesses. I really would enjoy Snatch Game. I've done impersonations and stuff before, but I think I would get so in my head with it that that's the one that I would feel most at risk with. But also, and Mandy's going to hate me saying this, and so Savannah, one of my best friends who's been teaching me to sew for the last 5 years. Emphasis on for the last 5 years would probably be the sewing challenge. I've made costumes before, and for the audition tapes, like the outfits have been fine. But under pressure, with all the cameras on, the Achilles heel would be sewing something. But that being said, I do know how to sew. I can use a sewing machine, and I know how to follow a pattern. So fingers crossed.
Well, you're doing
somebody's
10
worth.
times better than me already.
As long as two people are like 5% worse than me, I think I'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be
exactly.
fine.
Exactly.
Or as long as the other person in the bottom isn't a great lip syncer, I'll be fine as well.
You'll be like a lip sync assassin.
Well, I think from watching Drag Race religiously, we know that there's always a couple of queens that go on that don't know anything about sewing, and they always go, "Oh, I didn't know this challenge was coming," even though I've watched it the whole time.
Yeah. I tell you what, there's some queens in Brisbane that I would love to see on there just to tackle some of those creative challenges because they're like they're brains. I'd love to see Scarlet Fever on there because she can pull an outfit together out of absolutely nothing. I'd love to see Gayleen Tuckwood on there because she is a phenomenal sewer as well. And then just to see her do the comedy and the performance challenges, I would love to see Chocolate Box on there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Chocolate on there. Give her a girl group challenge and she's going to send us all home.
I love that.
But give me all the rest of them. I'll take them all on. I don't care.
As long as you snatch the crown, it's all good.
Exactly.
Another one. There's no room left on my shelf.
You got to build another shelf.
You'll be so successful. You just buy another house, then you can have another shelf.
Exactly. With the prize money, with the $50,000, I'll buy a house. It'll be great.
It'll get you a patch of lawn, but it's your patch of lawn.
Yeah. Do you feel that television shows like Drag Race capture the true essence of drag, or do you think that audiences really need to go to like the local events to experience that?
I think it captures a small cross-section of drag, absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a commercial kakadika dancing queen who wears stretchy dance costumes. There's nothing wrong with that. That is part of drag. That is why people pay to come and see the drag brunches. They want to see the queen up there performing Beyonce doing splits and kicks. That is part of drag. There's nothing wrong with that. But drag is incredibly diverse. And meeting drag queens and seeing shows live, nothing compares to it. The scripted, what they show on television, they kind of set the queens up to fail a lot of the time. Getting to see queens in their element, interacting with people, telling jokes, being alive in the room, and you can't put a price on that. It's so different. And even Drag Race doesn't cast a lot of different types of drag. Like there's so many things. Like I think about times where I've gone to Sporties and there might be 15 people in the room. And I'm watching a show from somebody like Malika Lamb, who is a showgirl from way back, and she gets up there and puts on the best goddamn drag show you'll see in your entire life. You're not going to get that on Drag Race. They're not going to put her on Drag Race, but she's incredible. Or you go to some of the alternative events like Alt in Brisbane to do some amazing events, and that whole group put things out there. The other day I was at a show that Go-Go Bumhole was running called Whole Mania at the Tivoli, and we sold 650 tickets or something like that of just people coming to see this incredible weird, alternative, freaky deaky drag show. And everyone just was incredible. There was a boy band group of drag kings there that came and did Raining Men. And Raining Men is a number that I perform all the time at Drag Brunch. It's the stretch dance costume, high kick and diva song of all songs. Like, it's my song. And I watched these drag kings come up here with their angle grinding guitars, doing sparks off their like leathered costumes.
Wow.
And they did this like heavy metal version of Raining Man. I was like, I can never perform this song again. That was anything I've ever seen. So I think it's going out and experiencing live drag and local drag will show you the art of drag. But that's not to say the people on Drag Race are not also phenomenal artists as well, who still deserve the same level of respect.
And speaking about those aspects of the drag scene that you don't get to see on commercial television, how has the scene changed since you started in it to now?
Well, I started drag post Drag Race like a lot of people have. So for me, the pressure to be like what you see on TV had already begun well and truly by the time I was there. Like I was really heavily inspired by like Shea Coulee, Bianca Del Rio, like those sort of queens when I started. So it was already well and truly advanced the way the scene had moved. But since I have been on the scene, Drag Race Down Under started. So that was really interesting, particularly in the early seasons before. Drag Race Down Under gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes, so the kind of competitiveness to get on there has reduced a little bit. But the first, I'd say 2.5 years of casting and things, the scene was quite cutthroat. Like people were like, show me what you're doing in your tape, da 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 da. Everyone was like, I've heard this person's talking to this producer, this person's talking to that. So it was no longer like community, it was competition. And seeing the girls come back and we're still doing the same gigs, they get some incredible opportunities and they got to be on TV, but we're all still just, most of us are just cross-dressing in bars for money doing shows. And I think that come down to earth moment of like, Drag Race Down Under isn't the same show that launched like Trixie Mattel to have her own thing. It's not this massive opportunity. It's still incredible, but it's not like going to make you a global superstar unless you work really, really hard. So that thankfully has brought everything back to earth. But there was a while there where it was really, it's quite cutthroat.
Yeah.
I'm sure if there's a season 5 and they do casting again, the same thing will happen again. And I'll buy into it as well. And I'll be trying to get on there just as hard as everybody else is.
You kind of answered this before, but what is the best part about being a drag queen?
The best part about being a drag queen is just making people happy. It's about making people happy. It's about getting to express myself and make myself happy as well. But nothing fills me with more joy than when I'm on stage and I'm hosting and I can make a whole room of people laugh at something stupid. Or if I'm doing a show and everybody just goes crazy. It's just like knowing that I have just, made somebody's day, or somebody's been really anticipating coming to see this show, or they just happened to stumble across the show and they were really impressed. And that's the best thing. It's just kind of the joy that I can bring to other people.
Do you also feel that you can kind of open up someone's world that maybe had a different opinion on the queer community even, and then you've changed their mind just because of being the entertainer that you are?
Definitely. I think in some ways I find it exciting to have people who don't normally see drag come along, and I've been privileged with some of the events that I do. A lot of those are targeted at kind of like, Girls' Day Out, and it's a lot of people who aren't queer or haven't been to drag shows and things before, and they'll come along and then all of a sudden become lifelong drag fans because of what they saw. And there's also times when I'll be at shows. The other week I had an 83-year-old woman come along to one of my shows.
Wow.
And she was having the best time, and we were playing music bingo and the song Milkshakes came on, and I walked over and I was like, oh, you don't know what this one is, dude. She's like, I don't know the song, but I've got some milkshakes over here. And she's shaking her 83-year-old titties around. It was fantastic. But I actually got her to stand up with me at the end, and I walked over and put her in the middle of the room, and I was like, so next time you have like a racist or homophobic auntie or uncle or grandfather or whatever, and they say, oh, don't worry, they're just from an older generation, just think what this bitch was doing. She was at drag bingo on a Wednesday night shaking her titties to milkshakes, right? Yeah. Your family can do better.
Yeah,
but it's more, for me, it's just kind of like, I don't want to waste my time trying to change somebody's mind. I just want to do my job, and I want to give back to the people who are giving to me. Like everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like I've had events that have been protested before. I've had people show up and try to get things cancelled. I've had issues and like that before, and I don't necessarily feel like fighting fire with fire. Like, oh, okay, cool, you can protest. I'm going to do my show. There's people in here waiting for me. We're going to have a great time. And that's, lock the doors, keep the freaks outside, and just have some fun. So I don't waste my time trying to convince people to love everything. I just go, they're missing out.
Yeah, I think it's really sad that people aren't open to different kind of culture that they might not be used to because, you know, you're cutting yourself off from not only an amazing bunch of people, but you're cutting yourself off from entertainment. You're cutting yourself off from just like love and acceptance. And, you know, these people like want the world to accept them, but they're not willing to accept others. And I think it's just really sad. So yeah, you just have to feel sorry for people that are going to say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing by you in that aspect, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at the end of the day, there's very few things that can truly unite everybody. So I think invest the time into the people who love you, invest the time into the people who want to celebrate you. And as long as there's no threat being posed, like I think it's still important to stand up for the community when people are being aggressive or people are inserting themselves into spaces where they're not welcome. I will always stand up for that. But for the vast majority of the time, invest where people are investing into you.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of the interview, but we do want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We have been asking all of our guests for the year a very important question.
Okay.
And that is, do you like being queer?
Oh, love it. My God. I love being queer. I would hate to just be like everybody else. We get to kind of choose our own rules. We get to make our own destiny. There's very few examples of how we're supposed to live our life. There's so much less pressure. Oh my gosh.
That's
amazing.
So true.
We don't have a script. Those poor breeders, they've got a script of things they're supposed to do. They've got to buy the house, have the kids, get married, get the oodle dog mix thing that they've got to get. They've got to go on 3 holidays every 5 years. Like they've got a whole list of things they have to do. We don't have that.
World's our oyster.
Exactly. The world is our oyster, and we've got drag queens and sequins and rhinestones and beautiful people.
I love that
that's
answer.
A great answer.
That's probably the best answer I've heard thus far.
Great way to end this episode. It has been such a great time hanging out with Lulu Lemans here on Just Gay Stuff podcast.
Sure has.
Before we go, Lulu, can you tell us what is next for you?
Well, first of all, I think I'd like to get some sleep. It's going to be a very busy Christmas period, so I might go into hibernation. But basically, I'll be pounding the pavement, continuing to expand the purple empire. I'm about to hand over my Miss Sporty's crown on Saturday night, which has been a beautiful chapter. But yeah, just going to stick out there. Been doing Hey Felicia and Drag Brunch and all the usual events that, you know, still kicking and still very entertaining, and would love as many people to come along and see them as they can.
And we hope to see you soon again too, because we love going to any drag event really, but if you're there, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't catch us like the whole episode, we are diehard fans.
Literally.
So everyone, thanks to Lulu so much for being here with us. You're listening on Just Gay Stuff podcast and Joy 94.9 FM. This is one of our last episodes for the year. We are capping at 100 episodes and this is number 98. So we only have 2 to go before we are taking a little break. But thank you, Lulu, so much for joining us. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you. I've loved being here. Thank you so much.
Oh, we love it. We love it. So until next week.
I guess you better remember to
stay gay, motherfuckers.
Woo!